Good evening. I'll go ahead and call the school board meeting to order at 5:02 p.m. Please let the record reflect that all school board members are here except for Will Gale, who has a work conflict, and the mayor is also absent due to a conflict. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, first item on the agenda is the honoring of retirees.
All right, this evening, we are grateful to have members of our teaching staff here tonight because we are here to honor 13 dedicated staff members from the Saco School Department that have combined 280 years of service. So I guess you guys were here before Burns School as a collective group. We have a format tonight where we'll have principals and/or staff members come up and say a few words, but we're going to start with Burns School tonight because I know that there is a practice rehearsal for a talent show that some of the staff members need to get back to. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mrs. Noble to please come forward.
Good evening. It's nice to see everyone. It's an honor to be able to speak on behalf of the 5 amazing educators that I've come to know at Burns. Quickly, just very accepting of new administration and some new ideas and some fresh energy, and I have to just share that all 5 of these individuals were really just very open and met with me early on, and there's definitely a trend when you look at the 5 individuals that I'm talking about tonight in how they welcomed me and Mr. Partridge in as new administration this year. So I'm just going to take a moment to say a few words about each of them. Pat Moulton, she is our occupational therapist. She's been with the district for 22 years. During her time as an occupational therapist, she's gone above and beyond, and one of the things that I recognize and Mr. Partridge and I recognized when we thought about her was the assistance she provides parents outside of just their students on a day-to-day basis. She's always going and advocating for things they can do to support their students with needs at home, and has some really outside-of-the-box tips and tricks that she's shared. So thank you, Pat, for your time at Burns. Next, I want to talk a little bit about Mrs. Powers. Carol Powers has beat Pat by 8 years, and she's been there for 30 years. Long-standing education in one place, so really impressive. I've known Carol for the year, and she has been such an amazing special ed resource for me. She served as the team leader for me this year, but I know she's done that for a number of years and really worked to create a team approach so that everyone's voices are heard. She's done a lot of different things for special education as well as the whole school. And our conversations are about the many changes that she's experienced over the years. One lasting memory of Carol is that she is extremely positive amongst lots of many circumstances that we've been dealt with this year, and I just really want to commend her for her positivity. So thank you, Carol. Right down to the checkered shirt you match. Next, we're going to increase on the years here because Kathy Moody has beat everybody with 39 years in the Saco School District. Certainly a long time to spend in one place, and you won't ever hear a single negative thing about Kathy Moody. She just exudes positivity and happiness and joyfulness. I love spending time in her classroom. During her time as a classroom teacher, she's really cemented herself as a legend in the halls of C.K. Burns. She has served students, parents of students, and some grandparents of students. And Tom and I, when we were putting our heads together, we just thought, every time we turn around, parents have wonderful things to say about her. And I know I'm going to miss her tremendously. So congratulations to Kathy. Next is Mrs. Balageron, another, I think, memory that people are going to always talk about Mrs. B. She's got a really lasting legacy at the Burns School, and she's been there for 33 years. Very impressive to me. During her time as a classroom teacher, she served as a leader of the 4th grade team. She's helped many students and new staff find their way in the building while providing high-quality education for many, many generations. One thing that stands out for me particularly is all the committees and all the work that Kathy does. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do without her next year. She's the one who's telling us to wrap things up so that she can get over and help our students who are getting ready for their performance tomorrow in the talent show. That's not all. Kathy's got her hands in many, many projects and really helped spearhead our 100th year celebration this year. Has a lot of history about Burns, and I was just telling her family that she has a lot of fans here, but I'm a big fan of Mrs. B. So congratulations, Kathy. And certainly not last but least, but Mrs. Deb Carroll has also worked in the district a long time, 20 years. So when you talk about how many years were served tonight, I think collectively we have the majority of years here right at Burns. But Mrs. Carroll is our social worker. She is the first person to answer the radio when I call to look for help. She's right there, right at my beck and call. She is amazing with students. She puts students' needs first all the time. I want to wish her luck in her next step as a social worker in her private practice. She'll be right next door. She has been a stellar member of the team. She assists students and parents in a capacity to ensure her students find success at Burns. I love her honesty and her compassion and the way she presents herself so professionally and kind with both students and parents. So big shoes to fill for Mrs. Carroll. Congratulations. I hope that my energy is as high as all of these 5 educators when I'm on my way out. Thank you, everyone.
Next up, we'll hear from Young School.
All right, good evening. I'd like to just congratulate our 2 retirees. We have Lori McKinney, who is our admin assistant, and we're going to miss her terribly, and also first grade teacher Erin Rudy, who's right back there. I'm going to talk about Lori first. Lori was the first person to welcome me to Young School, and she has brought just a kindness and a joy and ability to do so many things at one time. It just blew me away. Just as an example, we had a new budget process with Jeremy Ray coming over, and Lori was like, we've never done this before, but she just took us through it, learned it so quickly, and we did it without a glitch, and she was just on it. And she is somebody who can multitask, and she can just connect with staff, with children, with parents, all at the same time. If you ever walked in her office, and it's just how does she do it all? So she's going to be terribly missed. I'm excited for her and her husband, who her husband's waiting for her to retire for the last couple years, and he's been on the countdown, and it's here. So we're super excited for Lori. I'm going to miss her generosity, her kindness, and really her wisdom. Our morning talks, I'll just miss. So congratulations, Lori, who's not here tonight, but congratulations, Lori. Next up, Erin Rudy. Erin Rudy is just finishing up her 18th year here at Young School. Beforehand, this is her second career. Beforehand, she was a social worker and worked with families with special needs. So I'm just blown away at her heart. Just my first impression of Erin is something that sticks out with me big time. It was the second day of school, and it was the first child that I saw that was struggling at Young School. And I saw Erin. She was able to kind of get down and connect with this child and touch his heart so quickly. I was blown away because she didn't know him. They knew each other for 24 hours, but she had this ability to connect with this child and actually turn it around. And I was just kind of blown away. I just watched. I didn't help at all. I just literally watched her, and I was amazed by that. Erin, I'm going to miss our morning talks, your wisdom. I love how you talk about your family and your love of our kids at Young School. And you did say you're going to sub. I'm going to hold you to that. I want you here. Okay? You can come in whenever you want, and I truly will miss you. So congratulations, Erin. I just want to congratulate all the retirees. This is well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mears. Next, we have Maureen McMullen to congratulate our Fairfield retirees.
Going to congratulate our two retirees tonight. We do not have Sherry Colville with us tonight, but we certainly want to recognize all that she has done for Fairfield. Sherry came to Fairfield from Dayton, and I've had the pleasure of working with her for the past 11 years. She first became a first grade looping teacher, went from first to second for 4 years, and then she assumed the role of a reading recovery teacher. She has been in that for the past 7 years. During her time, Sherry also served on the ELA CDT and helped us implement the Reader and Writers Workshop. We will certainly miss Sherry. She has successfully helped many, many students on their literacy journey. We wish her well as she takes her next journey in her life. So congratulations to Sherry. And it's now my pleasure to introduce our next retiree who is here tonight, Lisa Arnold. I've been honored to work with Lisa for the past 22 years. Yes, that was 22. Lisa joined our Fairfield family from Young School, and no, I did not steal her, contrary to popular belief. Lisa has been a strong advocate for developmentally appropriate curriculum, and we love how she advocates for our children at all times. Lisa has done a fabulous job implementing technology into the classroom, and she is one of our definite go-to people for tech questions. She will be sorely missed in that capacity. Lisa also served for many years on the Mass CDT and helped us implement the Eureka curriculum. Lisa's vast experience and expertise is going to be sorely missed in the kindergarten team. We congratulate Lisa for all that she has done for our children and their families. We appreciate her and we value her. Thank you so much, Lisa.
And we have some Fairfield staff members here this evening to congratulate our retiree, Maureen, who we will miss dearly.
Good evening. We are here representing Fairfield School to honor Maureen McMullen's retirement as our principal. It'd be easier if you guys were 8 years old. Maureen has been the principal at Governor John Fairfield School for 24 years now, and during those 24 years, she has developed and maintained a positive and caring learning and community for all students and staff who have walked through the doors. Maureen has always been a strong advocate for her students and staff. She knows exactly what all of our students need to be successful socially, behaviorally, and academically. Maureen would always make sure that we, the staff, had what we needed to create the best learning environment for our students to be successful each day. We admire a lot about Maureen, but the one thing that we all find most impressive is the fact that she knows and remembers every single student's name. You could have been a student 20 years ago, and she will still remember you. Many times she'll say, "Didn't you have so-and-so in your class?" And we're like, and we have to go back and look through pictures. Another example, at kindergarten screening, she makes sure she greets every single child and family that walks through that door and learns their name, so that in the fall, she can greet them with a smile and call them by name. When students are with Maureen, either reading a book, taking a break, or just talking about what's happening in their lives, she makes them feel incredibly important and respected. Students' smiles light up when they see her at our various PTO events, which she makes sure she never misses. Maureen has always been very visible throughout the building each and every day. As a staff, we know that we can always count on her and go to her whenever we have questions or a problem or just need someone to listen. If something is wrong professionally or personally, we know she'll support us. She is truly the glue that holds us all together. There's also something to say for her longevity at Fairfield. She has been the longest principal that many of us have had, and with that longevity, she has built respect and trust within our school. Teaching during the pandemic has been challenging in many different ways for all of us. The past 2 years have not been easy. Maureen has always been available and willing to support us and our students in any way that she could. Maureen openly communicated with us daily and made us aware of any changes that could happen within hours that were happening, so we were always prepared. We have all made it through this stressful, unprecedented time with the guidance and support of Maureen. Not only has Maureen stuck with us through the tough times, she's also been with us through all the joyous times. She's been very dedicated not only to the students and her staff, but also the Saco School Department as a whole. Our next principal will have some pretty big shoes to fill. We truly wish Maureen the best in her next adventure, and we would also like to wish our colleagues Sherry and Lisa a big thank you for all the years of service. All three of you will truly be missed by our Fairfield family. Remember, Fairfield strong. Thank you.
And lastly, I'd like to invite Principal Rodman up to congratulate our Saco Middle School retirees. And following his comments, we would like to invite all of the retirees up front for a photo.
Thank you, Meg. Unfortunately, none of our retirees could make it to this evening's celebration, but we have 3 retirees at Saco Middle School. And the first is Chris Worth. Chris has been employed by the Saco School Department for 15 years, and in that time, she has tirelessly worked as an ed tech in a variety of special education programs. In the relatively short period of time that I have been at SMS, I've had the privilege of observing Chris work with our students. There is no doubt that she exemplifies the best qualities of a middle school educator. Chris is incredibly committed to the students on her caseload, and she is focused on their success both academically as well as socially. She has a wonderful sense of humor and always has the best interests of students in mind. A staff member told me that she has worked with Chris at Saco Middle School for the past 8 years, and that she was immediately drawn to Chris's quick-witted personality. She always looked up to Chris's ability to make students she worked with feel comfortable, safe, and valued. The things that she'll miss and the things that the entire staff will miss most about working with Chris is her infectious laugh, her priceless stories that make you double over in laughter, but most of all, her underlying selfless commitment to her students. Chris has been a valued member to our school community. Congratulations to Chris on her 15 years at the middle school, and good luck in retirement. Next is Larry Reinhardtson. For 16 years, Larry has taught math and English language arts to our gifted and talented students. First, splitting his time between C.K. Burns and SMS, and then solely at the middle school for the past 8 years. Larry is described by his peers as being extremely dedicated to his students and with a great sense of humor. Larry holds his students to a very high standard, and he holds himself to that high standard in an effort to ensure that they reach their goals. He is committed to ensuring that his students are challenged and come away from his classes with a deeper understanding of what they are learning. Apparently recently described to me her child's experience with Larry as amazing, and would hope that whoever takes his place, that their child will have a similar connection to an experience with him. Larry's dedication and contributions to his students, his content, and to Saco Middle School cannot be measured and will most definitely be missed. Congratulations, Larry, on your 16 years in Saco, and good luck in retirement. And finally, Janice Johnson. Janice has been a valued member of the Saco Middle School for 21 years as a school counselor. Dedicated and tireless are two words that come to mind when describing Janice. Her commitment to her students and our staff has been nothing short of remarkable. In addition to counseling our students, Janice has also coordinated a plethora of programs and activities for our students, including the Civil Rights Team, kindness assemblies, leadership conferences, career fairs, and the list could go on and on. In addition, Janice has also coordinated a variety of professional development efforts for our staff, including speaker trainings from the Center of Preventing Hate Violence, alcohol awareness and substance abuse, organized celebrations for students and staff, and coordinated school-wide lessons on sexual assault response services, as well as presentations to parents. However, Janice's contributions to SMS for these past 20 years are best expressed by two of her middle school colleagues. Janice always shares her huge heart with others, and it's filled with love, compassion, and empathy. She is supportive and welcoming, and her door is always open to anyone who needs her. Even on a very busy day, she finds time to help others and will give you her time and attention no matter what. She deeply cares about her students and the staff that she works with on a daily basis. Janice is always fun and energetic. She has a contagious laugh that can be heard throughout the halls of SMS. That is true. If you have ever had the pleasure of receiving one of Janice's Friday dances and you have truly lived, Janice would often enter a classroom greeting the students and welcoming them to school. She would then exit the classroom doing a fun dance and always made the kids smile with laughter. Her ability to love and support others has been remarkable. Janice, and this from a second colleague, Janice has been a dedicated school counselor at Saco Middle School for over 2 decades. She has helped and supported thousands of students throughout her career. She has made connections and forged relationships with all students, advocating for their needs and provided critical support for students during their transitions from children to young adults. Janice has been a strong voice and advocate for students and a safe space for so many. She helps students acquire knowledge, skills, and attitudes to build foundations for success in the future. Her professionalism and dedication to SMS is unparalleled. Janice has been a wonderful colleague and friend who will be greatly missed by all. I would like to congratulate Janice on her 21 remarkable years at the middle school, and I wish her best of luck in retirement and the opportunity to spend time with her new granddaughter. Thank you.
Wonderful to hear all those comments tonight. If we could just take a brief photo up front, and then we thank our retirees for coming.
Okay. Going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which was to have been a recess, but we actually had a brief reception beforehand. So we're going to go ahead and skip that. The next item is approval of school board meeting minutes dated May 11th, 2022. Is there a motion?
I always want to say Mr. Mayor, but Chair LaFortune, I move we approve the school board meeting minutes dated May 11th, 2022.
Second.
Motion made by Sarah Truman, seconded by Jen Preble. Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote. School board member Archie?
Yes.
School board member Preble?
Yes.
School board member Richard?
Yes.
I vote yes. School board member Truman?
Yes.
And school board member Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. Okay, next item on the agenda is adjustments, and I don't believe we have any. That brings us to correspondence, of which I don't believe there are any either. And that brings us then to the public session. If anyone wishes to address the school board, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and address the school board. Okay, seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public session and move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First item to report is just I included a link in your packet around the MSMA legislative update with all of the new bills and laws that were passed this year and also those that did not, and that is basically for your reading to keep you informed. Several items from around the school department this week is our current pre-K students have their step-up days this week where they'll visit Young School and Fairfield School. Young School second graders will have a presentation from WMTW meteorologist and a field trip to walk the SMS trails tomorrow afternoon. So that would be great. Fairfield School has Junk to Funk, which is visiting again. And this has been a fun event that's occurred prior to COVID. It involves a collaboration of musical, percussion, student cooperation, and finishes with a school performance, I hear. A lot of things are happening at CK Burns. Last Friday night, we had a big PTO event, and thank you to the PTO for putting that on. I wish they could have ordered the same weather that Young and Fairfield School had the Friday night before, but unfortunately, we didn't get quite the same weather pattern that night. We also have the celebration of 100 years that we'll be gearing up for at Burns School. We heard about our talent show that is happening, I believe, tomorrow afternoon. And then we also have had a program, Girls on the Run, at Young School, where the girls will compete in a 5K race on Sunday, June 5th in Brunswick. And then yesterday was really great to see our sixth graders and some of our seventh graders finally got a field trip out to the Sea Dogs. We had a lot of different kids from the communities out at the Sea Dogs. Not only did they have like the perfect weather day, just having a fun experience, whether it was catching foul balls or purchasing concessions, just something that was good to see as we start to see these field trips get out there again. It's just a good sign for our students. Last night, as you guys all know, we had a school construction meeting, and all of that information is on the website. One of the items that we touched on briefly at the last meeting, and we kind of talked about it briefly at City Council meeting, is learning more about the fact that the Comfort Inn in Saco will become a site that will host 100 refugee families starting on June 1st. Now, as far as information that we have very little information. I was able to have a conversation with the Department of Education yesterday, and again, just in the initial steps, I have another meeting on Friday with York County. But some things that we need to be thinking about here is that starting on June 1 for the next year, 100 rooms will be available at the Comfort Inn for refugee families, with 95% of those families coming from Congo or Angola. While we do not have any idea at this point in time what this will mean for student population, if all 100 rooms are filled, it would be easy to expect that we could have a surge of 150 students into our school department in the fall. Now, these students would be on the young school side, which would also incorporate Burns School, SMS, and the high school. And I would say that for the young school space, we are very fortunate that we are constructing 4 classrooms right now, because those could be needed. We have contacts with Catholic Charities, which will be the lead agency involved in this relocation. And we'll begin to hopefully gain access with our conversations with Catholic Charities to space at Comfort Inn, because we'll need to do many things this summer around making sure registrations, getting information about kiddos, making sure that we have a clear understanding of what grade levels and spaces this will require for us to adjust with over the summer. Now, as we look at some of the funding that has been designated for the state for educational resettlement, there is a $500,000 available for the entire state. So certainly, when we think about funds that we will need to work on and figure out, this is something that is not planned in our budget and something that as a community we'll need to have discussions about to figure out how that we are get the information to support students when they come here starting on June 1st. While we're not sure that a June 1st arrival for all families is something that will happen, we've been told that probably closer to the middle of or end of July, we'll have a better understanding of the amount of students that will be coming in our directions. While I know it's, probably a lot of questions that come up about this, this is, what I'm reading to you is the information that I have that is inclusive of everything at this time. So this will be a situation that we will need to be heavily involved with as a school department to make sure that we are providing supports for families and going through the process. And I'll keep you updated throughout the coming weeks and months as we learn more about how new students will be welcomed to Saco schools.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the superintendent? Okay, moving on to the chair's report. I have one quick item. Also, probably doesn't have a lot of detail either. Jeff, Sarah, and myself did meet with representatives of the Saco Education Association to discuss the calendar item that we've talked about from time to time. The end result of that conversation, which was very productive, was that they'll be drafting an MOU to outline the way in which we're going to address the gap between the calendar and what the expectation is. And so that is, I believe, in process. And I think when we get that back, then we'll probably meet specifically on that, just to go over the details. Okay. The next item is staff reports, and there are none in the packet. There's only one subcommittee meeting minutes for strategic. The next finance committee was this evening. I don't know what the next one is in June.
We need to talk about the June date later in the calendar.
All right, that brings us to old business. There's no old business. The first item under new business is new hires.
Chair LaFortune,
Yes?
did I jump the gun?
No, you can go right
Okay.
ahead and make a motion.
I move we approve the nomination of Hallie Hawks, Saco Middle School counselor, and Madison Van Cleve, occupational therapist, and issue a contract for the 2022-2023 school year.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Sarah Truman, seconded by Beth Johnston. Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Archie?
Yes.
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richard?
Yes.
I vote yes. School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
And School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. Okay, that brings us to the next item, which is resignations.
I'll take another hit at this. I move we accept the resignation of Jen Ruel, Saco Middle School instructional coach, and Maria Bernard, CK Burns school counselor, effective at the end of the 2021-2022 school year.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Sarah Truman, seconded by Beth Johnston. Okay, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Archie?
Yes.
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richard?
Yes.
I vote yes. School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
And School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. That brings us to item C, which is the COVID update.
In your packet, like every other school committee meeting, it's just an update on the numbers that we see with COVID cases throughout the district. As you can see, after vacation, like other vacations, we had that spike, and we are on the, hopefully, the continued downward positivity rates, but an update for you guys as a school committee.
Okay, any questions? Okay, moving on to the next item. It's the water sampling update.
As you know, earlier this year when we had our first tests for water sampling lead in pipes based off a new law, we had several situations where we had more than 4 parts per billion for lead in some of our pipes, which in some of our fixtures, which as a result created a situation where we had to have new testing. As you can see from the mitigation plan and results that are linked online, the second set came back very, very good. And that we have, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe one fixture in the entire district that is a drinking fountain at SMS that we need to replace based off that situation. That fountain is currently out of service, and we are in the replacement process. So that became better news than we had anticipated from the first test.
Any questions for the superintendent? Okay, moving on to the next item, which is the Learning Center Learning Works grant.
Okay. So I would ask Meg or Chris to come forward and talk a little bit about this. This is a really exciting opportunity that we applied for with Learning Works, which is a community-based nonprofit that operates out of Portland. We have worked with Learning Works on the Biddeford side for like 10-plus years, providing after-school programming for some of our students in need. And Meg can tell you a little bit about the grant that we were awarded in Saco.
So we're very excited to be partnering with Learning Works and especially with the grant funding that we were able to acquire to provide that programming. The first stage of that programming will be an extension of our summer school programming to allow our K-2 families to have programming from 12 to 4 p.m., which will create a full day of programming for those students, which we know is advantageous for those families of young children that might find a half-day program to be challenging given schedules. Their programming is designed to provide learning, but also in an enrichment and experiential way so that students have exposure to literacy and numeracy through projects and through hands-on activities. And the grant will continue through the fall to provide after-school programming, specifically at Fairfield. The funding requires that Title I status, so we're hopeful that in that partnership with them, we can understand how to continue to expand that programming across the district.
Awesome. Thank you, Meg.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to the next item, which is the selection of delegates for the MSBA Annual Delegate Assembly, which I believe is, I have to open it up.
So in your packet is an email from the Maine School Boards Association, where this is an opportunity at the Delegates Assembly for you guys to nominate someone who would attend that, be able to vote on resolutions or items there that are brought before that group. And I need to have a delegate if we plan to have somebody attend that virtual training.
So the delegate assembly, just if you haven't seen the email, is on Saturday, the 22nd of October and it's at 9:30 in the starts at 9:30 in the morning, and it is going to be held virtually. So it's not a trip to Augusta, it's a virtual meeting.
And certainly, this is something, if you guys want to talk about this and think about this, we have time before we have to get this in, but if you have made that decision, we can take that tonight.
Yep, I think maybe the best approach is probably maybe think about it and then come back to the next meeting with this item.
Perfect.
Unless someone is raring to go right now. Okay. We'll put it off to the next meeting. And then that brings us to first reading of policies. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I move we approve the first reading of policies JL, Wellness, JL-R, Nutrition Program Guidelines, and JB-E, Superintendent Job Description.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Beth Johnson, seconded by Sarah Truman. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. School Board Member Archie?
Yes.
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richard?
Yes.
I vote yes. School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 6-0. And that brings us to the last item on the agenda, which is the school committee meeting date for June and July.
So I'd just like to talk about that. I had emailed you guys about the next meeting being on the 8th, which is the week before our budget validation vote, and thinking that it would typically be wise to make sure that our meeting that month is after that in case we had to, well, knock on wood, we won't have to, in case we have to take any action. I had originally proposed June 15th as that date, but also thank you to Sarah for reaching out. That is our promotion for SMS that night, and so I believe we said that we could do the 16th at 5 would be something, if that is something that we can consider for a group. In July, I need to be at a main school management national event for AASA, the advocacy conference in Washington, D.C. And so you can keep that date the same, and Meg can chair that meeting, or you could switch that to the next Wednesday night. I do suspect that during July, with the information that I shared around possibly increase in students, we are going to have some school committee meetings on additional weeks. So that may be a situation where you can leave that one and Meg can chair that meeting, or switch that as we gather more information over the summertime.
So June 16th, we'll start with that. I like the proposal of having it after the school budget vote, just in case, rather than having one on the 8th and then having to slot one in. I'm fine with that. I don't know if anyone else on the board has a problem with that date and time.
I don't have a problem with doing it after the voting. As I mentioned to Mr. Ray, that we have the promotion night that night that goes from like 6 to 6:45, and then they have a big party afterwards. But I think 5 o'clock on Thursday would work for me. So.
Seeing a lot of head nods, I think that that day works for everyone. And so the date in July that we were tossing around.
So we can continue to have that on the 13th, I believe, is the Wednesday night. And Meg would be available to chair that meeting, or if you feel that you would like me in attendance that month, the 20th would be the next week.
I don't have a problem with either date. I'm not sure if anyone else has.
I don't have any
preference.
conflicts, and I don't see any problem with either scenario, so.
I will be out of town the week of the 13th,
Okay.
if it makes a difference.
Then why don't we shoot for the 20th? 7 p.m. or 5 p.m., which would that land on?
That is a 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Does it have to be a 7 PM, or can we do 5?
I'm going to need to change that date with both of those, so I could do a 5 p.m. here.
Oh, right, because you have your Bedford one
Yep.
too, right? Okay,
So
yeah, so that's fine. I'm
If,
cool with 7.
if time is TBA'd for right now, let me get back to you after, because the same request is going to be made in about an hour and 45 minutes from right now.
Okay, so just to recap, we're looking to have a meeting on the 16th of June at 5 PM, which is a Thursday, and then potentially having a meeting in July on the 20th, time to be determined.
Did you say that you were anticipating maybe needing to have another meeting in July, or are you hoping just that one?
Well, ideally, it would be just that one, but I think the information that we receive about new students moving into the school department will probably dictate a little bit of our meeting schedule throughout the summertime.
Okay.
As more information rolls out, not only will we need to meet here as a body, but we certainly will need to bring the city council into any of those discussions as well.
Okay, and do we have anything in August?
Not
Yes,
at this point that I know of, other than what was on the calendar.
Correct. It would just be our regular second and fourth.
Okay, great.
Okay, sounds like a tentative plan. All right, that brings us to other information. I don't believe there's any other information this evening.
No, I just wanted to add, albeit they've already left, but I just wanted to say that my experience with Kathy Moody and Sherry Colville, Kathy Moody was my daughter's teacher in 4th grade, and Sherry Colville knocked it out of the park with my son in the reading department this year, and then Maureen has been principal for all 3 of my kids, so it's just wanted to say thank you to them, and thank you for all the years that they've worked for Saco and all the good work that they've done for kids, and sad to see them go, so.
Mr. Chair, I just want to echo Sarah's sentiments, and really I have great appreciation for those that I've known more particularly, but certainly we appreciate everyone who's worked in our district and is retiring now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on, there is no executive session this evening, so a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay. Motion made by Sarah Truman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff Richard. Okay. Any discussion? Roll call vote. School Board Member Archie?
Yes.
School Board Member Preble?
Yes.
School Board Member Richard?
Yes.
I vote yes. School Board Member Truman?
Yes.
And School Board Member Johnston?
Yes.
A motion passes 6-0, and we are adjourned at 5:52. Thank you, and have a good evening.